I'd like to compliment the Honorable Finance Minister, Sri Arun Jaitley ji, for the swiftness he has shown, as promised not only during the election campaign of the Honorable Prime Minister, but also in the manifesto, in bringing this legislation, which is the need of the hour. As he rightly mentioned in the Statement of Objects and Reasons, that stashed black money in various forms, including cash deposits, robs the country of financial resources for social inclusion, puts burden on the genuine taxpayers, and also threatens the national security. So I welcome the bill wholeheartedly, sir. This bill was to come in 2004 after the UN Convention Against Corruption. It did not come. It was to come after the judgment of the Supreme Court in 2011. It did not come then either. The answer to why it hadn't come in these two occasions is best left to be answered by the government of the day. Sir, the Honorable Finance Minister also agreed that there are different figures with regard to black money illegally parked in safe havens abroad by different agencies and persons. The main petitioner of the black money case put the figure at $1,500 billion, or 90 lakh crore rupees. As per the Global Financial Integrity Report USA, India is the third largest country in 2012 with outflow of black money to the tune of $94 billion, or 6 lakh crores. So this is just for the year 2012 alone, this figure of 6 lakh crores. The first would be China with $250 billion, second is Russia, fourth is Mexico, and fifth is Malaysia. So out of the $991 billion of capital gone out of all developing countries in 2012, 10% is from India alone, sir. I mean, illicit money gone out of India between 2003 and 2012 was $439 billion, sir, or 28 lakh crore rupees. So again, I'd like to repeat, between 2003 and 2012, the figure as per Global Financial Integrity Report of USA from India is $439 billion, or 28 lakh crore rupees. On an average during this period, 2.8 lakh crore rupees has been sent out of India every year between 2003 and 2012. And other agencies and individuals also gave other figures. So nobody knows exactly how much black money is parked in those safe havens, but everybody agrees that the scale of the black money India has attained is in huge dimensions. Sir, coming back to the earlier referred judgment of the Supreme Court, I wish to submit that the House is very well aware that the Supreme Court gave the judgment in July 2011, directing the then Finance Minister to set up a special investigating team. But conspicuously, the UPA chose not to appoint. I also congratulate Sri Arun Jaitley ji and the Honorable Prime Minister that they have appointed the SIT within a few days of entering office, and that too in the first cabinet meeting itself. And on 15 September 2014, a team of officials led by the Revenue Secretary, comprising of the Chairman and the CBDT, signed a joint statement with concerned authorities in Switzerland with regard to investigation into black money stashed in Swiss banks. Discussions are on for automatic exchange of information in the banking system, and the Swiss have agreed to provide information on furnishing evidence from our side. Sir, to address the issues of black money and to avoid its scandalous international ramifications and to bring stability and security of the countries, the UN has approved a UN Convention Against Corruption in 2004, via its Resolution 58/4, and asked its member countries to ratify it. The convention contains detailed articles regarding preventive measures and criminalization and law enforcement. Article 40 under Chapter 3, which deals with criminalization and law enforcement of the convention, expressly states that each state party shall ensure that in the case of domestic criminal investigations of offenses established in accordance with this convention, there are appropriate mechanisms available within its domestic legal system to overcome obstacles that may arise out of the application of bank secrecy laws. This convention provides international cooperation in investigation and mandates banks to verify the identity of customers and directs it to provide necessary mechanism in the legal system to address and repatriate black money. Sir, we have signed this convention in 2005. In spite of pressure from various quarters, the UPA government chose not to ratify it until 2011, which is just a few weeks before the judgment of the Supreme Court on the black money case. The UPA has misled the Apex Court by saying that it is serious in bringing back black money. It did not bring any legal mechanism, leave alone constituting an SIT for this purpose. So literally, UPA has done nothing, and the NDA is doing everything possible in this regard, sir. Sir, I have no doubt that this government's approach on black money is doggedly persistent and not adventurous. The Honorable FM will never try to take shelter under the confidentiality clause of the DTAA. Rather, he is going to the sources of black money, because unless and until you stop it at its source, it is next to impossible to stop black money from going out, sir. Sir, it was reported that as per the recent study by National Institute of Public Finance and Policy, the black money generated in the country could be as much as 70% of the GDP. The lowest figure could be 30 to 40%. Some agencies have even estimated it to be 100% of our GDP. But the likely figure seems to be 70% more than our actual official GDP, sir. It means that we have a parallel economy in the form of black money. So I urge the Honorable Minister to crack his whip at source of black money. Only then we can succeed in our efforts of having a clean economy. Parallelly, I would also suggest joining the Paris-based Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development's new protocol, along with other countries which aim to fight black money. It will help free flow of financial and other information on accounts abroad by 2017, sir. Clause 73 of the bill helps the government to be a member of this OECD protocol and achieve this objective. Sir, the House is aware that concealment of taxable income is a civil offense, but this bill under Clause 88 makes the offense of concealment of income or evasion of tax in relation to a foreign asset a predicate offense, a crime that leads to money laundering. Under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 and under FEMA 1999, this helps the enforcement agencies such as the IT department, the ED, the CBDT, etc., to attach and confiscate unaccounted assets held abroad and prosecute the people laundering black money. It is a good provision, sir. Secondly, making it a criminal offense is equally important, because under DTAA you cannot get information if it is a civil offense.
Please conclude, Jaidev ji.
I'll conclude, sir. Sir, one suggestion, I brought this up under different subjects earlier, but sir, with the trinity of JAM, Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar and the mobile, I think the time has come now, because see, if we bring down the usage of cash in India as a whole, definitely it brings down black money. And I think that if we bring these the M-commerce legislation into place, allow prepaid mobile cards to be debit cards and postpaid SIM cards to be credit cards, it will bring down the usage of cash in a big way and definitely bring down the usage of black money also, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, black money enables and funds corruption, sir. So the real issue is corruption. Whether it's political corruption, economic or social, it leads to organized crime, crony capitalism, corporate fraud, and terrorism. It is all pervasive and is prevalent in all sections of society. Sir, we need a national mindset change in addition to laws like this, and we need cultural transformation, because every section of society, every section of civil society is infected with this disease. So I would like to see it go beyond a bill like this and a debate started on how can we change the mindset of our society against corruption. Thank you very much, sir.
11th आवर तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेशनल प्रेसिडेंट बने रहने के लिए तैयार थे, उसको अचानक क्यों, जब ये बात चली पार्टी के अंदर और उसी पर इनको हटाया गया।